Hello, this is Goto. Welcome back to Feed the Beast Interactions. So processed some materials between episodes. Got that copper nickel finished and then stamped into plate, so we're going to be able to turn that into our item pipes. But I also went and made some more steel because, well, we sure did use steel last episode. So here's more steel ingots cooking. They are compressing up. I made a few more stacks of that. Set a few more stacks of iron type dusts to cook over here, so replenish our iron ingot stacks. And today we are going to be starting to hook up our stuff to automation. Woo! But first, what I actually wanted to do is I was looking at our our room and area we have, and I decided I wanted to do a different layout in here. So instead of having this kind of machines around the corner, I kind of wanted to make more of like a kind of like an array of machines kind of going through the middle of the machine, through the middle of the room rather. So that's what I'm going to work on moving over here. I'm just going to actually just pick up and move all of the relevant machines to relevant places, I guess. So I'm just going to pick up machines that we don't really need to be in the current place that they are right this second, which is going to basically be all the machines, but doing this saves their inventory, so I don't have to worry about losing all that rubber and etc. Can go ahead and break this item duct, put the chest over here for now, break that everfull urn. Let's just put that back in its chest. So what I want to have is, I want to basically have the more blocks that are kind of close to each other, sharing the edges of air blocks, the more we can have saved connections. So either I can save on power cables, or I can save on item pipes. Power cables do tend to be the more expensive option, so that's probably what I'm going to be doing over here. But the layout I'm thinking is basically have kind of something like this, where it's 4 machines. On top is going to be the logistics routing and insertion of stuff. On the bottom is going to either be the item output or the power cables. And then in the middle I will have also whatever I don't have on the bottom. And then I'm going to have a gap every 4 blocks so that if we decide to carry on with this layout through applied energistics, that won't be a problem for the 8-channel system on those cables. It's 8 channels on cables, right? Pretty sure. And so then our next setup is going to be like this. We'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a gap, and then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Something like this. And then the idea is I have space to walk around, get behind, configure stuff, but also I can still, there's still room to walk around in here. I can walk between. I guess it's gonna matter how I put the cable in here if I can walk between, huh? But I should be able to walk between and then access stuff up here, down here, etc. So this is what I think I'm going to go with, and this is also going to leave a space for a second row of machines here. It might be a little bit tighter, but it will be something, and we can also probably, at the point where we're having so many machines it's stretching over here, we can probably go ahead and retire our steam machines and replace them with LV or better. So for now, this is what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to actually go off camera and kind of arrange these where I want them to be. So yeah, be right back. Okay, so I am back from shuffling machines around. So this is kind of what I came up with. So in this back corner, I have my polarizer, bending machine, lathe, and wire mill, basically my kind of metal processing things. Over here, I have the... Oop, I have these in the wrong order here. Hold on, let me move these around real quick. Not a problem. So I have the distillery next to the cutting machine because the distillery will be making water and eventually lubricant for the cutting machine. And then I have the chemical reactor with the basic fluid solidifier for the rubber. And then on this side, at the moment, I only have an assembler and a basic mixer over here. The mixer and assembler are going to be things that we probably have to go in more often manually to adjust recipes and stuff, because we're going to have these circuits in here that control the recipe, and we can't necessarily make a whole lot of things automatically, at least not yet with the logistic pipes that we're going to be setting up, because the logistic pipes cannot control the circuits, but something we get later can control the circuit, so that's going to help us out. But next to the assembler, I want to put a fluid extractor machine, because we're going to be using a lot of fluids in the assembler. And then I want to also put a circuit assembly machine next to that, so that the fluid extractor can also serve as putting soldering alloy into the circuit assembler once we have the circuit assembler. So yeah, and then this space over here is going to be open for the meantime, so in the meantime I can go ahead and close it up. So now I need to think about how I want to wire this. Do I want to wire it on the bottom, in between? So my thought is, if I wire it in between, it saves a lot of cables, because, you know, I only have to run the cables once per row, but if I wire it under, I have to run it twice per row, because, you know, I have to get to the under of each machine. So I'm thinking to do the wires on top, because wires tend to be more expensive than item pipes. And in fact, I think that's already true for these particular wires, being more expensive than the copper nickel. And maybe not more expensive, but pretty close to it. Let's grab our wire cutter and go ahead and connect all this up. I'm probably not going to have this connection here. Actually, I'm probably going to have it go under and connect from underneath, so that there's not a big wire blocking the path under there. And then what I'm going to do for the outputs is that I'm going to move the outputs to be appropriately. So the chemical reactor and fluid solidifier, those are going to output directly into the machines next to them, but this is going to output down, that's going to output down. All of these are going to output downwards. That's already aiming downwards. Okay, down, down. And then underneath is where I'm going to put the item conduits, or not conduits, item pipes. And then one thing I just remembered we have to do, if we're going to be connecting a bunch of machines to the bottom, you have to actually go and set these machines to not allow input from the bottom, which I think you do with the screwdriver. Let's see here. Input, allow input from output side. Okay. No, we don't want that. So we want to disallow input from output side. Okay, it looks like it's disallowing input from the output side by default. So that is good. And then we'll just want to make sure that we do not connect the chemical reactor and the distillery next to it, because there's not going to be an output side on those. So, oh, speaking of, where is our plates? I think I already took them over here. Cupro nickel item pipe. Here we go. Do we want to do small or one stack? I think let's do... Well, one stack is 3 times the price, huh? How many blocks are we going to have here? For now, we're having 16. So if we did 4 times that, it's going to be quite a lot. Let's just do small, and if we see it's being a bottleneck, we can always upgrade it in the future. How was Electrum item pipes? Small Electrum item pipes are actually better, now that I'm looking at this. Now that I'm looking at this, maybe we do want to go Electrum, but do we have silver and stuff? Let's see, where's silver? Silver. We don't really have all that much silver. You know what, let's just go with the Cooper nickel pipes. If we need to take them down and recycle them later, then so be it. But I think we're gonna probably be okay. And, oh, we need our wrench in here for these. Let's get like half a stack of these. We broke our wrench. Let's see, what do we want to make a new wrench out of? Probably just like a mana infused steel wrench would be fine. So let's go, and don't actually have any of that, do we? Let's go make some real quick. Get in there. There we go. Oops, I was too close to the steel. Okay, right, I can't actually stand down there or I'm going to pick up the steel. Alright, there we go. We can get some of these plates cooking in the bending machine. Where's our battery? We're going to need the battery here for a moment. Get in there. And this is running fully battery operated at the moment because, well, kind of obviously we don't have power there. Alright, and then we can make a new wrench. Let's just go here. Yeah, that's fine. You can just show me that wrench, and I can just click over the recipe on accident. Where's our hammer, though? Did our hammer break? Or have I put it somewhere? Because there's definitely not a hammer in here, right? Like, I'm not tripping. Oh, it's our hammer that broke. It wasn't our wrench that broke. Okay, you know what? Let's go. I saw there was a quest over here for a mana-infused hammer. Let's go ahead and make one of those just so we get that quest done. It's like not an amazing hammer, but it is a quest, so I'm gonna need to borrow a stick. There's also one for a thaumium-infused hammer, but we can make that one. This one breaks or something. Okay, so here's our hammer. And let me just go ahead and make a new wrench while I'm at it, too. Hold on, did the quest not complete? Mana-infused hammer. Mana-infused metal hammer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what I'm holding, buddy. Gonna be right back 1 second. Okay, I have... I went and turned on editing mode for FTB quests, which is what this book is, and I was able to right-click this and get the quest ID, which is right here, and then I think I can just do FTB quests, FTB quest complete this. Let's see here. Generate chapter with all items in game, export rewards to a chest, import rewards, change progress. Okay. So change progress, I think, is what we want to do. So change progress on this quest. Unknown error. Okay, well, how do you do it then? Change progress, type, team, object, ID. Okay, so type, complete? I don't know. Team is Team Godel, and then object ID is that one. There we go. Alright, got our quest complete. Quest debugging. Alright, and then we get our new wrench here. I don't suppose that's because that was a different copy of the hammer, right? Well, anyways. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't work. I could have also maybe edited that, and maybe it didn't have, like, the correct type of, like, fuzzy lookup on that. But anyways, I mean, here, we can... Incomplete. Yeah, so it's incomplete now. Let me actually look and see if we can edit mode and see what's wrong with this really quick. I can show you what this looked like. So, edit, and then... Shape, default. Let's see, let me cancel this. Whoa. Okay, don't crash, please, game. So if we click ignore damage is true already. Yeah, I don't know, because it's set to ignore damage. Alright, let me turn off editing mode, let me go complete the quest again, and I will take these ingots, and we are not going to keep those. So those 4 extra ingots are just going to go in the trash. This is the quark trash can, by the way. I enabled it earlier, and if you hold shift and put items there, it will delete them. A little bit more convenient than this trash can, I find. But anyways, okay. I totally forgot what I was doing now. Right, we were making item pipes. Alright, I'm gonna need my wrench as well, but, put that in there, and then, there we go. Half a stack of, let me take this bad wrench that's about to break. Half a stack of, pipes is probably gonna be enough. Okay, and then, I'm going to go ahead and go underneath here. We're going to put all of our pipes. So we want to make sure we do not connect the pipe to that one there. So connect them around. And do the same over here. You can also one-way these pipes, but there's not really a point to it since there should only be one destination on this circuit eventually. So let's see, connect these guys up. And let's see, if I have blocks here, blocks here, blocks that, and if I just have like a walkway through here to get between, for my cable connection I can come up through the middle like that. Wire cutter is here. And then I can go over to this side as well and connect that right there. I think I'm going to have this come through here to connect in the middle, and I'm going to use facades just to make it a walkable space there. Just so that it's not too much spaghetti down here. So that's looking good. And then this chest is going to need a place to output. I think I'm going to have the output come over... Let's see. Well, I'm thinking to potentially have another set of machines here in the future. So let's maybe put the output on... I want the output close to the machines as well, because often an output will go straight back into another machine. And the output's also going to need to be accessible with a logistic pipe, so... Just some stuff to keep straight in planning mode here. Let's go ahead and cover this up. All right. I'm thinking here, how do we want to do our outputs? How did I just fall between all of that? Like, really thread the needle on that one. I meant to go in here and then connect these wires up. This battery is recharging, / it did recharge. Like, yeah, I fell like straight through these wires. So, oh, I guess it's a little bit wider of a gap than I thought it was. Okay. Let's do our output over here, I guess. So we can have our item pipe come here, and then come here, and then here is going to be our output. So all of the item pipes should feed, it's basically going to feed into the closest destination, and this should be our only destination at the end of the day here. Yeah, I think that's looking okay for now. And then to actually get the items into the network, what I'm thinking to do is... Or there's going to be like pipes up here, right? So our storage is going to be in that room, and our machines are going to be over here. I'd like to have the shortest possible distance between the machines and the storage. So maybe we sacrifice there being a walkway on this side of the machines and just have our machines come straight up. Or I could have... I could have it come through the wall. There are facades, right? For logistic pipes as well? Maybe not. This is facades for that. I don't think that these GregTech facades can work on a logistic pipe. Yeah, it does not. Let me see if there's any facades, and if there's facades, I'd really like for the pipe to just come up through here and pop out through the wall. If not, maybe I'll just have it go through the wall or something. I don't know. We'll see. So be right back while I look into what kind of options we have available. Okay, so we're gonna try the cable anchor facades from Applied Energistics. So all we need is a Certus quartz cutting knife. Uh, you saw me stop there because I'm like, wait a second, we don't have Certus quartz. I think we might have some Certus quartz dust. Where was our centrifuge chest? Because I was centrifuging quartzite. Yeah, so we do have Certus forged dust, but in order to turn this into crystal, we would need to implosion compressor. Certainly not doing that. Alloy smelter. Nope. Autoclave. Yeah, we didn't actually make an autoclave, did we? Let's go ahead and make an autoclave because we are gonna need one every now and then. So, autoclave. Bookmark this in case we need to hit multiple times, but I think we actually have everything. Oh no, we need all the things. Okay. Vacuum tubes is what we need, and red alloy cables. And we could make this cheaper in the circuit assembler, but we do not have that yet, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. We can make the, we can actually make these cheaper, though, so I think we're gonna want to go ahead and do that. The vacuum tubes. What's our recipe that we're gonna be using for those? So this requires liquid red alloy, which we don't have a fluid extractor yet. So we're just gonna have to go with this one in the meantime. So let's get some glass tubes. Let's do like a stack of 16 of them. So it needs glass tubes, and then what was it, red alloy wires? No, just copper wires, okay. Oh, we don't have that many copper wires. We'll use what we have, so we'll do a stack of 6 instead, and then steel bolts, right? Okay, steel bolts. Cut 3 steel bolts. Oops, I didn't mean to throw those out of there. Let's go cut up 3 steel bolts really quick. Cutting machine. And also go over here and use a cover under here to make that look a little better. Alright, there's our 12 steel bolts. Now we're going to go put them in our assembling machine, and I believe for this we just put it without a circuit. And the glass tubes. Circuit 1 maybe? There we go, it was circuit 1. And whoops, we should be able to double accelerate this without needing our battery. There's the vacuum tubes we need. Alright, and we're going to need copper wires, so let's get more copper wires cooking up over here. Our wire mill is back here. Circuit 1, alright. Okay, so here's our vacuum tubes, and then we also needed red alloy wires. I thought I already made some. Oh, there's copper wire over here, I'm dumb. Well, too late for that. I'm gonna need to actually borrow the wire mill again. 1 second, sorry, wire mill. Alright, get out of here for 1 second. 1428, this should run no problem. We can put our copper back when that's done. Alright, and copper, you can go back. In fact, we have so many copper wires here, just don't make any more of those. We don't need that. I just need it to be like, you know, in the place I expect it to be, not over here. Alright, so we are going to make some of these now. Just make like all of them is fine. And then we can now make our circuits. And we can now make our autoclave. Hey, autoclave. We didn't have one of these, did we? No, we did not. Okay, so autoclave is going to be one of these machines that I think we're going to want to have over here. So we can go ahead and bust this out. Connect that right there. Good, we can aim it down. And we'll hook it up to the item pipes once we actually have something going in here. But what do we want in the autoclave? So the autoclave has multiple recipes. We can either use, like, let me go and see what we wanted. So specifically, we wanted the Certus quartz, right? So we go to the Certus quartz recipes in the autoclave. We can do water, or we can do distilled water. Okay. So actually, most of these have a most of them have a what's it called recipe, but for some reason this doesn't. I have some water flasks type of droppers here, right? Yes. Okay. So we have a glass vial here. I believe we should just be able to grab some water with that. There we go. So I was a little confused there because actually there's supposed to be recipes for liquid starlight in most of the autoclave. So autoclave, for example, salt. Oh, I guess this is for some more specialized recipes. It's not for turning gems into it's not for turning gem dust back into gems. But anyways, okay, so there's going to be our Certus quartz stuff, crystal. Let me go ahead and speed it up a little. It's going to nuke that battery, but that's okay. Alright, there's our Certus quartz. Now we can make our cutting knife. Oh, watch. Oh, there was also a nether quartz cutting knife. That's okay, we don't have nether quartz, so we couldn't have done that one. So there's our quartz cutting knife. Now with this, I should be able to cut up, like, basically any ingot. What is the recipe here? What are you telling me here? So silver, iron, brass, aluminum, iron, brass, tin, like it's okay, is it like any metal? Well, let's just do tin because we seem to have more of that than anything right now. So there's some cable anchors, and then the question is, are those cable anchors going to work with our pipes over here? So if I stick a cable anchor on here, it is in this block space here. So this cable anchor is not actually interacting with that, but if we take a stone block, we have some already. There's a regular old crafting table. And we do cable facades around it. We can make cable facade network aesthetics. Hey, do these go on logistic pipes? Nope. Okay. Well, all of that was a freaking big old waste of time. Thanks for that. Gosh. Um. Hmm. To Google. Be right back. Hello, I'm back from Google. Kind of. So what happened was I went to Google and then I accidentally hit my hotkey to stop recording, and then my game crashed. So, good stuff. I am just loading in back here, and then I'll try to pick up where I left off. It's been a couple hours as well since I did that session, so because I was just like, oh man, whatever, I'll just finish it later. But I guess we are loaded in here. Here we go. Cool. We have trying to remember what I was doing. Oh yeah, I was trying to find a facade or cover or something for this, and I'm gonna be real, I don't think we have one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to and I think also, let me look. We have, so I know we have micro blocks in this mod pack, right? That'd be these, right? Yeah, these are the micro blocks. So with these, I think we can do something else with them. Here, let me grab the saw really quick. Saw. Here's a saw. Let me go to an actual crafting table because I recall there was another micro block recipe for. Okay, so we can make them into strips. I think I have a strip over here really quick. I can test strips if strips work. But I'm gonna guess strips probably don't work either. Yeah, see, it doesn't let me place anything in this block space of the logistic pipe. It's to the space beside or on top of it. So this is like directly on top of it and I put something on top of it, it's up there, right? So this doesn't work. But there was something else I remember called like hollow covers or something. Let me remember how to make one of those. If I recall, let's throw my strip back in there. To make a hollow cover, you would run a circle around your base because you don't remember where your crafting tables are. So you would take a slab, and then you would take a panel, and then you'd have covers. And then with this, I think you'd make a loop with it. So like this. Hollow stone block brick cover. Okay. So the question is, can the pipe go through this? So we can see like, hey, there's a hollow cover here, but like, again, this is on the outside of the block, and it's not actually compatible with that type of cable multi-block piece. Is it compatible with... So it's not compatible with conduits either. As we can see, I can't place it in here between the conduits. What is this even compatible with? Like, why do we have this? Not compatible with anything, really. Okay. And if I put another cable next to it... Like, I can't put a cable here because this block is occupied by this cover. Like, that's the closest I can put it. So, yeah, we can't use this either. So, yeah, I don't know that we have a cover option for this, actually. So we're just going to have to kind of ugly mode it, maybe. Maybe I will just, how to say... Maybe I'll just have, like, covers that are on the wall here. So I would have this cut out. And then on the outside, we can have, like, fake covers in a way. So let me put some blocks here. So we would have some fake covers here. Basically similar to what I did for the, back of the steam machines over there. And then this would allow us to run a cable up here, and then we only see the cable poking out. Like, that's the best I can think of. And we can still walk through here, right? Yeah, we kind of get stuck on it, but we can do it, so... Alright, until I think of a better way to make facades on these, I don't think we can really do anything better, so, yeah, that's, what we're gonna have to do here. Alright, let's talk about what we actually need with all of these. So I am thinking for our subfloor, we don't have a lot of room in our subfloor, but we do have a lot of room in here. So I'm thinking we're going to have a lot of crafting tables that we're going to need to have automated. And I kind of want them to have quick access between the upstairs and the downstairs, because we're going to have something get produced up here, then it's going to have to go to a crafting table. So I'm going to make a hole here, and this is going to be like our tube that gets us access to the crafting area. I can go ahead and start laying our pipes here. Let me get unrouted pipes and basic pipes. Basic pipes are what we're going to need at any intersections, and unrouted pipes are just for like long runs. So here's our thing here. What is our storage situation? This is already kind of close to our storage, so I am thinking we can have a... Thinking. Where is this table located? It's located like here, right? Yeah, so if we have a run of cable come into here, I think that would work. So let's just go straight from where the table is over this way. This is going to be an intersection, so let me put a basic pipe there. And then from here, we are going to run unrouted pipes this direction. This will be for getting them hooked up to our storage. Then on this side, I'm going to just run a straight line to the wall. And I might make 2 holes here, actually. So let's do an intersection here. And then an intersection here. So we're going to make 2 holes because we're probably going to end up having a lot of crafting tables. And if we have some stuff coming from the crafting table versus some stuff going from the machines to the crafting table, it might be more beneficial for them to take a shorter route there. So I go ahead and build the shorter route. And then up here, we are just going to have our cable come up, and out. And yeah, it's kind of walkable, but if I could put like a slanted block in here or something. Oh, how about the architect's bench? Does that let me do anything? Where is it? It's in my inventory. Let me quickly try one of these. So I've never really messed with these too much. 1 makes 4. This is like a overhang piece. Yeah, I think these are... The problem is those blocks do not seem multi-block compatible. But what I'm thinking is, what if we made like a little tapered edge, and when we're trying to walk by here, it wouldn't like catch our... it wouldn't catch us as much, you know what I mean? Okay, I would like to place it on this wall, though, if you would be so kind. Okay, maybe it doesn't want to let me place it like that. Oh, here we go. Okay, that doesn't really, like, push me kind of into the gap like I hoped it would, so this is fruitless. Goodbye. We tried. Yeah, I guess that's gonna have to do it for now. So what we're gonna have over here is we're going to have... whoops, this needs to be an intersection because we are going to branch off 2 different sets of pipes going across the top. So what this is going to look like is that we're going to have up here the controller for controlling the crafting recipes and housing the crafting recipes that go into this machine that it's below. And then below we're going to have the destination pipe for the machine actually doing the work there. So, without further ado, let us start working on the components that we're going to need to make all that. And we have logistic crafting tables. We're also going to need crafting logistic pipes, and we're going to want to automate these pretty early on. So let's see, I have crafting logistic pipe here. That's going to be one thing that we're going to immediately need more of. We're also going to need a thing to automate as far as hooking up our storages over here. So what kind of, do we have better storage options yet? Also, I would like to get these modular storages are pretty nice. Yeah, we can make these. And then what do these require? Reinforced alloy. Yeah, we can absolutely make these once we get to MV, and then these we can make right now. So we can get up to the 2 stack of this pretty quickly, and that will be 200 stacks, which is so a little a little less than 4 times this would be a 100. So this is like 80 stacks of items here, or 76, or hang on, I can just do the math. 27 times 3. This is 81 stacks. Okay. So 100 would be almost 2.5 times bigger than a gold chest. So that'd be pretty... Sorry, 200 would be 2.5 times bigger than a big chest. So that'd be pretty nice. Anyways, we are distracted. I'd also like to get some elevators to be able to quickly go up and down. And looks like we could potentially make them with Thaumcraft, these Ender elevators from Extra Utilities. But we would need to research some stuff here to unlock this recipe. We would need glowstone for the Nitor. We would need to find a source of alienus aspect, which I don't know that we've really seen any alienus aspect that we can use yet. Outside of like Ender Pearls, but if we have Ender Pearls, we can just use elevators. Because that's just, you know, Ender Pearls, elevator, yep. So let's go down to our bottom floor. This is where our crafting is going to be. And our pipes come in here. I guess we can go ahead and start having our pipes be, or our crafting tables actually be in the wall. Like, I don't mind that we have the wall actually carved out to be the crafting tables. And just being careful here with my jackhammer to not punch a hole in here. All right. Let's put our candle back. So for our crafting tables, let's go up there. That will connect the top, and then we're going to need some more pipes to actually get that to fit across, but let's go ahead and start programming a few of these. So what are we going to want to be able to make automatically? I think we're going to want to make the crafting logistic pipes. So how we do this is that we go in here and we tell it a recipe to make. And then for this particular recipe, sorry, I was looking at that for a second. We have to provide it with a programmed logistic programmer. So I'm going to put the logistic programmer in there. And then here, I'm going to hook this up, and we need the wrench from this mod. I'm going to hit import, and this is telling us, hey, when you supply these items, we're going to get back this crafting recipe output. But because we've already supplied the logistic programmer, and the logistic programmer is not consumed on use, we're going to take that out of the inputs. So now it's just going to ask for these 4 items, and it's going to kick out one of those. And that's how we are going to set up our whole table, basically. We just need to decide what are we making and then do it. So we probably want to be able to make these on demand. So let's make those, and then let's make also the unrouted pipes on demand. And then I'm going to go in the pipes and click import and import. So now if we have the items needed to craft those items supplied to our storage system, it should know how to make them. But right now we don't have anything supplied to the storage system because we haven't made anything. So let's go and let's make some stuff to hook up our storage next. So we're going to now need a chassis pipe. So I'm gonna make a Mark 1 chassis pipe. We're gonna need multiple, but I'm thinking to make Mark 2s ultimately. So let's do a Mark 2 chassis pipe. They're here at the top of the list. Nice. So here's our Mark 1 recipe, and then here's our Mark 2 recipe. And I'm going to start with a Mark 1 recipe, so we should be able to do this, have this in here, and then craft one of these. It's also going to be a quest for us, so... And they give us some extra chassis, I love that. And these are modules. Modules are what go into slots of chassis. So if we drop a chassis pipe and then we open it up with a wrench, we can see there are 2 slots. I'm thinking, how many slots are we going to want? 2 or 3. So we're going to need a slot that tells the storage, hey, this is where items go. And then we're also going to need a slot that says, hey, the stuff that's in here can go elsewhere. So we're going to need at least 2 slots, but I'm thinking just to future-proof it, / in case we need more, I'm going to... Yeah, these quest descriptions are not correct either. I'm going to make Mark 2 chassis, which will be able to hold 2 slots. 3 modules, I think. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So 1, 2, 3. And then we get 2 more from the quest reward. Yeah, they hold 3 modules. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I think we're going to be good to use. Now to actually hook them up, we're going to need modules. So to make modules, we can actually make them via chiseling, but one of these modules we have to make, and I believe the one we make is, yeah, the item sync module. So this is the one we're going to need to be able to actually craft. So let me craft another one of these guys, and we're going to say item sync module. This is the recipe we want to be able to make. And now we should be able to make an item sync module. Ooh, though, now that I'm looking over here, let's compare these recipes really quick. Oh, I already had that one bookmarked. This one I want to compare. So, electrum wire, graphite plates. We can make graphite plates, right? Yeah, we have graphite dust somewhere. Here's some graphite dust. Let's actually do these, because these look like they are much more resource efficient. So get some graphite plates. These take advanced chips to make 8 of them. I'll take that deal. And then we're gonna need some electrum wires. Fine, electrum wires. Do we have any electrum? We do have some electrum. So let's just make... How many advanced chips do we have? Not too many. I'm just gonna go ahead and... match like 4 sets of recipes here. So let's go in our wire mill. Let's set it to number 3. That's going to make our fine electrum. This is making our graphite plates a little slowly, so I'm going to speed it up. Speed it up a little more. We need 4 of these. There we go. 4 of those, 8 of these, and then we just put it in the assembler. No circuit needed. Okay, assembler is here. That, and the chips. There we go. Ooh, and that's kind of a power expensive recipe. I mean, we have effectively infinite steam downstairs, so I'm not too worried about it. But all right, there's our item sync modules. And our item sync modules let us chisel them into any other module. Let me go get a chisel. So now we can chisel these into any of these. So I just turn them all into polymorphic item sync. And passive supplier. And creative tab, for some reason, if you use this. Let me actually, I mean, since I'm here, I might as well, you know, get all the tasks complete. Terminus and item sync is what we started as. Okay, so there we go. We got a bunch of quests complete. These aren't complete because these are special recipes that we need to craft from other things. Hang on, that one though. I must have just missed that one. Okay, so this one we need to craft from a different recipe. Because that's like an advanced one or something, I guess. I don't know. Okay. So we have some modules now. 32 modules, in fact. And just go ahead and put these back together. I'm thinking, how do we want to actually store the items in there? Let's look at our module options here. So for the module options, we can do a mod-based item sync. That would put items from specific mods in specific chests. The thing is, though, when you're using a system like this, you're not really going to be going and interacting with the chest directly as much. So kind of organizing specific things to specific places isn't as relevant. Item sync is going to be specific items, or if we want to use a generic default route. Provider is what we're going to use to get the items out of the chest. Or dictionary is going to let us sort by or. That one could have some interesting implications, I think. How does this one work? Oh, it looks like you have to put in an item and then you have to select what filters. Also, this font is barely legible here. So here, now this chest, if we put this module in here, would accept cobblestone and stone cobble. Sorry for the legibility here. Okay, so it's not super versatile like other item sync ones are. Crafting modules will be for crafting. Enchantment sync is for enchantments. Quick sort. Polymorphic item sync. Polymorphic will accept items that are already in the chest. So if we have a chest full of cobble, it'll see, hey, there's cobble here, send me cobble. Extractor just dumps items into the network from the attached chests. Passive supplier will catch items that are kind of looping around. in Creative tab. Okay, so I think we're going to be using mostly item sinks and provider modules. So let's go ahead and hook up some pipes down under our subfloor to our storage chests. So I probably should have looked before, our crafting table is here. I'm just going to go ahead and hook up the 3 storage chests we already have. And underneath the crafting table, I'm going to put a basic pipe. And then we're going to put, we're going to need to have a basic pipe here because this is an intersection now. Unrouted pipes, and then we're going to put 3 chassis pipes down here. So chassis, chassis, chassis. And then I'm going to say for 3 of these, I can configure all 3 at the same time, I think. I'm just going to have them be default route of yes. So that means any items that go into our network are going to end up in these chests kind of randomly. And I'm also going to say chisel 3 providers rather. So these are providing the contents of these chests. So now, if I come up here and I go look at our logistic table, I should see everything that's in this chest. Yeah, perfect, nice. Now, if I go and I tell it, hey, show me everything that is craftable, I can press this both to change stuff that's only craftable. And then this stuff is stuff that's stored, and then this is both. We can see that we don't have any unrouted logistic pipes, but if I request one, it's going to be like, hey, you're missing red alloy wire. I mean, I'm going to be like, okay, whoops, I have that. Let me put it in there. Alright, now there's red alloy cable in here, and we should be able to request unrouted transport pipe. Still missing red alloy wire. It's not red alloy wire, it's supposed to be fine red alloy wire. This is fine red alloy wire. Why is red alloy wire missing? Oh, you know what? It's because I'm looking at the wrong recipe. I'm dumb. I'm trying to make this recipe here. Okay. So here, to demonstrate, instead, we have... Let me do the basic. So the basic is the one that needs to find red alloy wire. So it's telling us we need red alloy wire to make the unrouted pipe. But... if I put an unrouted transport pipe in here, it's going to go get stored somewhere. So I saw the item come in. Where is it? There it is. So it's now in that chest. Now if I go and request a basic pipe, it should say, hey, basic pipe complete, and it should be sending that item down there to our crafting tables, making it and bringing it back up here, and we should get it up here momentarily. There it is. It auto-crafted that for us. So great. So can we do crafting logistic pipe? What do you need for that? You need red alloy wires because you don't have any basic logistic pipes. Okay. Let's put like half of these in here for now. And can you now do crafting logistic pipes? Heck yeah, look at that. Made us a bunch of them are now coming up, and we did not have to sort our stuff, pull it out of chests or anything. So now I can take these extra logistic pipes and I can hook up more things. So let's hook up let's do, so these 3 are configured. Let's do some chassis pipes in here. So let's do the chassis recipe in here. And then let's do the chassis Mark 1 next door. And we're going to need the actual program controllers for that, or logistic programmer. So let me go grab those. And item sync module, we're actually not going to be using this one. We're going to be using the, we are going to be using the, what's it called? The assembler recipe, because that's much more efficient. But I would like to make a crafting manager instead. So now we have crafting manager. Crafting manager is this block right here. And that's going to be what we use for buffering ingredients, or not buffering ingredients, for storing recipes for stuff and things for our machines. So this is the Mark II chassis. There we go. This is the Mark I chassis. There you go. And then this one's going to be our crafting manager pipe. And we're just probably going to be using regular chest there. If we wanted to use a different chest, we could specify, but just regular chest. Or I could use a fuzzy pipe and use like a different kinds of chest, but yeah, regular chest is going to be fine here. Hey, this wrench does actually work on this pipe, but it is using the durability, so let me use a wrench that doesn't have durability. Okay, so we're going to import here and then take out the programmer. Import here, take out the programmer. Import here, take out the programmer. And then anything else we want to be able to craft down here right a second? Probably satellite. Satellite logistics pipe. So that's where we're going to be telling where items go. And we'll probably want fluid satellite as well. So let's go ahead and put this recipe in here. We're going to need a programmed controller to be able to do that. So we'll come back and add that later. In fact, here, let me actually go ahead and import that, and it's going to tell us if we do try to make one of those, it's going to be like, hey, you forgot to put your thing, and then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot to put the thing. Do we have more crafting pipes? Where's some red alloy wires? Let's get some red alloy wires going so that we can be able to make those pipes on demand. In the meantime, though, I'm just going to put these back in here, and now we should be able to make some crafting pipes. So let's make like 10 of them. Can you believe how easy that was? Wow. And these is going to be like enough wires for a boatload of those, so I'm not worried about that running out. In fact, I don't think we even need to hang on to those at that point. There's more crafting logistic pipes. Let's do more recipes now. I would really like an elevator so I don't have to keep running down here. By the way. So we need to be able to make these blue remotes by demand. They're kind of annoying to make, so let's put this in here. And then import, so now we can make logistic programmers. Unprogrammed ones, of course. In fact, I'm going to go run upstairs really quick and request one so that we can do our crafting table. In fact, do I just want to bring this downstairs? Maybe I just want to bring it downstairs, you know? In fact, you know what I can do? I can be really cheeky right now. I can just borrow this entire setup and just take this downstairs. Because why not? I can. I could make more request tables, but they're kind of annoying to make, so for now I'm just gonna have them down here separately. I'm just gonna move them as I need them. Okay, put the floppy disk back in here, and then we needed, for this one, we needed satellite, right? Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and request a programmer. I'm going to request a few of them, actually. And we can actually see down here, now that we're standing down here, you can see it's sending the items down here, and then sending the finished product over here. Very nice. And then satellite. We're going to flash satellite. Uh-oh, no power. It must not be accepting the connection there from a crafting pipe. Yeah, that does not connect to that block there. Let's... Why is this also red here? There we go. Let's go and get some basic pipes right here, and this is just going to be temporary, I think. Basic pipe, and then now we should be able to connect to the program compiler. And satellite, please. There we go, satellite logistics pipe. And go into, it's kind of hard to access these upper ones now that I'm looking at it. So satellite logistic pipe controller, or programmer, I mean. Stick it in there, take it out of the input. So now we should be able to make a satellite pipe. Yeah, there we go. It's requesting the items. Here they come. Oh, something over there needed to be crafted first, and then it sent it over here. Heck yeah, and there's our satellite logistics quest. And, oh, that gave us a crafting manager, actually. I like that. Thank you for the free crafting manager. This slot, also, if I put stuff in here, it's also going to send it back to storage. So that is nice as well. Okay, what else do we want to be able to craft? Let's look at logistics and see what else we're going to want to craft. Result logistic pipe. Yes, we need one of those. So let's do results logistic pipe. Flash. I can't shift click in this inventory. It's a little annoying. So here we go. Result logistic pipe. That does happen to go in that slot. And then we now can create those on demand. Am I going to want to be able to make these modules? So module upgrades, we need to make them in an assembler, so they're not going to be made down here. So all of these up here are taken care of. Basic logistics, okay. Request logistic pipe. Request logistic pipe. That's kind of like what we have doing our table, except it's a pipe instead of a block. And then request mark 2 just lets us right click it with our hands. So provider logistic pipe that provides stuff from the network to the attached block. Crafting logistic pipe, we already have that automated. I don't know if we're going to want provider logistic block. Probably not. We'll probably use chassis for related functionality. We might want supplier. So supplier can fill a inventory with a target number of stuff. So let's go over here. Let us do supplier. Whoops, I didn't mean to bookmark it. So let's get a supplier programmer programmed. So supplier logistics pipe. All right, import the recipe, take out the remote. I didn't take out the remote of this one, naughty. Just checking the other ones I did so far, make sure they're all good. Okay. So we already did chassis Mark 1 and 2. We'll do Mark 3 if we end up needing Mark 3 and plus, but for now, Mark 3 is fine. Okay, request Mark 2, we don't need remote ordering logistic pipe. What does this do? Lets you manually request items remotely. I don't know that we need that yet. Logistics inventory system controller connects to inventories. Okay. Entrance pipe, destination pipe, firewall pipe. Okay. Here we go. Some fluid stuff. We are going to want these fluid type pipes as well. So let's go and get some of these programmed in here. So fluid basic pipe. Do want that. Fluid container uses buckets or other fluid containers to fill the connected tank. I don't think we're going to want that. Maybe, but probably not. Okay, fluid insertion, fluid provider. Maybe I should just bookmark these instead of going one by one. So yes, yes. Fluid request we're probably not going to want. Fluid extractor we might want. Fluid satellite we're going to want. Fluid supplier. Maybe. And then fluid terminus, also maybe. So there's 6 more of these we have to do, and which of these actually need recipes here? So, or not recipes, but programmers. So basic I already did, right? Yeah. Okay, so we did basic, and then looks like they all need programmers. So we're going to need 6 more programs. So we can get 5 more. Oh, we are out of the relevant number of chips, actually, to make this. Uh-oh. So we're going to need to make more chips to finish that off. Maybe, in fact, we don't do this right now because this is fluid stuff that's a little bit more down the road. So maybe we come back and do that later once we actually need fluid stuff, because I would like to instead be using our limited resource that we have to actually go and set up autocrafting. So let me set that up, actually. I think we have all that we need to set it up, believe it or not. So let's do like our wire mill, right? So we're going to have... Where's our logistic controller, our crafting manager, rather? We're going to need a crafting manager, a satellite pipe, and we're going to need a result pipe. Oh, my dang old table is downstairs still. Go grab my table. Okay, let us get a result pipe. We need one of those. So how we're going to set up this logistic pipe is basically we are going to set up a crafting manager. The crafting manager has these 27 slots where we can put 27 crafting modules. So let's get some crafting modules going. So crafting module. And in each crafting module, we are going to be able to put some recipes. So if I open this crafting module, this is the same thing that we had in the table, but now I can specify a recipe in here. So, for example, if I go do fine red alloy wire in here, we can go to this recipe and I can say, hey, this recipe is actually a recipe that we want to make. Unfortunately, we are going to have to write the recipe ourselves because there's no way to import. Actually, is there a way to import this? No, there's no way to import into here. So we're going to have to basically use ghost icons to make the recipe. So we can go in here and use the mouse wheel to get 4 fine alloy wires for 1 red alloy wire. And I know you're saying, hey, there's the one that makes 8 from 1 ingot. So the problem is that this machine uses program circuits, which we're not going to be able to have the machine come over and, or the system come over and change. So we're just going to be using only the program circuit one. So let's go red alloy wire next. So 1 red alloy wire in this machine will make 4 fine red alloy wire. Dump it in there. And then let's do 2 red alloy wires will come from 1 red alloy ingot. Right? That's the recipe. Wire mill, 1 ingot equals 2 wires at circuit 1. So throw that in there now. And now if we open this pipe back up, we can see, and we can press shift also, and we'll see there's the crafting modules. If we right click on it, there's what they are configured as. And now it's going to be like, okay, so now where are these items going and where is the result coming from? So we're going to attach a satellite to the basic wire mill, and we're going to call this satellite something. Let's just call it wire mill. And now over here, I can tell this, hey, wire mill is going to be our destination where the inputs go. And if for some reason there is a need to set multiple inputs, we can also go in here. These 3 slots are set to be able to allow other satellites. So if I had like a fluid extractor next door, I could send some items next door to the fluid extractor, and it would send these items to the satellite that the crafting manager is hooked up to, and then these items to the satellite that the extra configured satellite is set up to. And then there's one final step, so we're going to need a place for the items to land and get retrieved from. So let's go and put just a regular old chest should be fine. Maybe we make it bigger in the future, but for now, regular old chest is going to be over here. And we are going to attach our provider logistic pipe to that, or not provider result, and we're going to name this one just main results. So now we need to hook this up to our system. And I need some more unrouted pipes. I'm just going to go grab them from our chest because I know where they are at the moment. Soon I will not know where anything is, but for the moment I know where they are. And there we go. That's now set up. So now if I go and I request red alloy, we know that we have 8 red alloy wires in storage, right? So if I request those, they're going to come over and then they're going to come up into the table. There's our red alloy wires. But what if we want to make some more red alloy wires now, right? So if I request 3 of these, Oh, we didn't have any, but where are they going? They are actually sending the ingots over here to the wire mill. The wire mill is processing them. It outputs them into the copper nickel pipe. The copper nickel pipe kicks them out over here. And the result pipe doesn't do anything because I forgot to tell the satellite here where the result is going. So the result is main results. Select. And then put the item back in there. Okay, this craft might be broken because I didn't actually specify a place where that result is going to come from. How do we fix this? I think we need something called a security upgrade in order to be able to look at crafting jobs, but I can also just destroy the stable, and I believe that should kill the crafting jobs in the network. Let's try this again. So request 3 of these. Oh, there they go. Okay. Oh, and now it's also requested the ingots over there because it was like, hey, they were already sitting in the output chest, so I just moved them over for you. Let me do a clean run. Okay, one more time. So red alloy wire. We have 4 in store. We have 1 in storage, so I'm going to request 4. So that means it's going to craft 3 new ones. It should take 2 ingots, or yeah, 2 ingots over there. There they are. One's processing. There's the second one. And then as soon as that finishes, there it goes. There's the 2 wires that just crafted. And then there's the other 2 wires that just crafted. One of them's going to go to storage because I only requested 4, and then the other one gets sent here. Yay, it works. Cool. Whew. Okay, so now all I got to do is just set this up for all the other machines, and then I'm going to set up some other things as well. So in addition to this crafting manager being able to accept the crafting modules, it's also able to accept something called the crafting buffer upgrade. So uses attached chest to buffer crafting ingredients. So what I'm going to be able to do with that is let's make some modules first. How do we make this one? Just chisel. So we're going to make this recipe. You know what? Let's actually go ahead and hook this up to our thing over here. So let's do a crafting manager. We are missing FPGAs. Okay, we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. I think that's where we're gonna call it here. I'm going to probably work on getting some raw material set up. I might automate just a couple things that are gonna help me automate some of these other things. So, yeah, like for example, being able to make these FPGA chips and basic chips, etc. So I'm going to work on that, I think, between episodes, and then next time we come back, I can show you the full setup with this. And then I'll probably be spending a while programming recipes. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that on or off camera now. But for now, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you're enjoying the series, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, etc. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.